Hey y'all, welcome to Fitting and Homemaking. Today we are going to be doing a quick declutter of these two spaces, the top of the pantry right here, and then the top of the fridge. So this has a lot of books and papers and random things on top. Here's a broken down box that I was confused about. I later figure out why it's up there. We've got some paper towels up here, nothing in between the paper towels, thankfully. And we're constantly afraid that this stuff's going to fall on our head. So we need to get that cleaned up. And this is the top of our fridge. There's more random art, some, what are those called? Paper towels that are used for erasing our grocery lists. We got some boba tea kits, some ant bait, some storage bags, some Prosecco, and our Instant Pot. So we need to get these cleaned off. All right, and this part's going to go quickly because it's, kind of boring. But I will say, I did originally do this talking the entire time when I was doing it. But again, I had audio issues. I don't know if I just did not plug my microphone receiver into my phone far enough or what. So there is one part of this video where you can see me talking, and I'm obviously not going to remember exactly what I said in that instance, but I'll just kind of let you know what's going on. That thing I just took off actually goes on the bottom of the fridge, and we kept kicking it and it kept falling off, so we just gave up and put it on the top. All right, cleaning off the top here. I think I'm just wet wiping it because I'm lazy cleaning today. I realized, I looked at it, I was like, I'm not putting my duster in that. So get a wet wipe here and scrubbing this off, and then I'll switch over and I'll do the same to the pantry. Although the top of the pantry isn't too terribly dirty because that stuff moves around a little bit more often than the stuff on top of the fridge. All right, so this is me showing you everything that I took down, and our game plan for today for decluttering these spaces is just to go through and organize everything on the table, make piles, and figure out what to do with it. And then after that organization is done, I'll be walking back and forth, taking things to where they go. This is a little emotions chart that my kids' daycare gave them that they like. So we'll put that back up there. It must have just fallen off and we must have just tossed it on top of the pantry. But we have lots of artwork because we have two kids in daycare, and then they also like to color when they're at home. So all of this stuff is going to go into a pile of artwork for review. So we'll pick out the few pieces that we want to keep, and we will get rid of the rest. The other thing I'm looking at is a random USDA calendar, which it is a calendar for this year, but we just don't really use hanging calendars like that. So I'm going to start a trash/recycle pile. Those are paper towels that have been used probably to their limit for erasing grocery lists that we put on a little black magnet on the side of the fridge. This is me discovering what that box was. My husband, sometimes when he cooks and he puts food on the kids' plate, sometimes it's still hot, so he uses that as a little fan, but we do not need to keep that for that purpose. I'm just stacking all of the cookbooks. This is like a highlights puzzle challenge book that my husband and I got during COVID, and this was kind of like a special date night for us. We would go through and do some puzzles together. These binders have more recipes in them, including kind of like loose leaf things. That top binder has like a pocket in it. And that box is just like family recipes that have been passed down, or recipes that I care enough to put down on recipe cards. These are the markers that we use for writing grocery lists and for meal planning. This is ant bait. Highly recommend this version of ant bait if you have ant issues. Every single summer we get the tiny, tiny little ants that come in through the little cracks, the little tiny openings that are inevitable in a 30-year-old house. And this is me reading it to see what the proper storage instructions are, because I was wanting to put it under the locked side of the sink, but it said to store in a dry, cool place, and under the sink, since that's where our dishwasher kind of vents and stuff, is neither cool nor super dry. So that's going to go in our storage closet. This is some Prosecco my mother-in-law got me after I weaned my son. But I'm just not much of a drinker, and opening a bottle of Prosecco is a commitment. And my husband and I just don't really drink that much. So not certain when we'll get to that. These are expired coupons, so that can go in the trash pile. This is a boba tea set that my husband got as a gift from someone, so I'm going to see if I can consolidate it, and since it's kind of a food item, I'm going to see if we can fit it in the pantry when we're putting stuff up. But yeah, that box does not fit in there, so I'm definitely going to have to go and get the scissors and open up that box and dump the contents in this bigger box just to consolidate a little bit. I'm not certain why I cared to read that. And that was me very quickly giving up on opening that. That box is kind of like a waxy coating on it, so even if I wanted to tear it, I knew it wasn't going to tear terribly easy. And it really creeps me out that there is zero audio to this because I'm used to hearing like the background noises. So apologies if you really like those background noises too, even when I do voiceovers. I will try to do better in the future. I really just need to do test audio clips right at the beginning before I film, and that would probably solve the issue. But that's more time and more work, so we'll see if that actually ends up happening. But now this can go in the trash pile. Not sure what I'm so distracted by on there. This is literally a huge box of gallon storage bags, and we normally keep those in the drawer by the stove. So I have no clue why they were up there instead of actually in the drawer, because they fit fine in there. Maybe at the time that we bought them, they didn't, but that was that hand gesture of like, WTF, why wasn't that in there in the first place? Some things just don't make sense, but you know what, this stuff definitely accumulates over time. If you are taking this chance to declutter a small space of your own, please pop down in the comments below and let me know what you are decluttering. I know that I don't have a lot of time to do huge declutters, so I tend to do these much smaller ones of just like little spaces that are bothering us. This is me deciding that I guess I'll put this in the fridge so then it'll be ready for whenever we decide we're going to have Prosecco sometime in the next year or so, because honestly I usually only drink if I have friends over, and none of my friends really live close enough or at a point in their lifestyle where that's a possibility to just come over on short notice. So this is me moving things around the pantry to make space. And I did zoom out because I was like, oh, like at this point I'm just a disembodied head talking, but didn't matter. It absolutely didn't matter. All right, so now we're at the point where we have organized things into piles, so now we are taking care of the piles. So this is going into the room where the other artwork that needs to be reviewed is. These are just some pictures that I found on top of the fridge. And there's not really a great place on the fridge for them right now, so those will go into our bedroom. This is going into the storage room, which the door on that is locked. And I'm saying, please remind me to tell my husband I moved this, because he gets upset if I move things without telling him. And I can imagine him looking for those again one day. I did do that. I did text him once I was done videoing and said, hey, I moved the ant bait traps to the storage closet. And now we're taking care of the trash and the recycling. That stuff is non-recyclable in our area. So it goes in the trash bin, and this stuff will go in the recycle bin. Thrilling voiceover, I know. I was more interesting when I was filming it. That I'm going to go ahead and put in our bedroom because we have a bookshelf in the bedroom, and if we feel like doing that activity, we can pull it out again. I spend a lot of time on these paper towels. We don't have a paper towel roll holder. That's kind of a lie. We have a reusable paper towel roll holder, and those are mainly what we use as paper towels. We generally only use paper towels in the case of things that are greasy. So that's why they have been kept up top, but this is me kind of debating, like, it'd be nice if we had one that was maybe tucked under the counter. Then I feel like that would get in the way. And here I'm staring at the side of the pantry thinking, oh, maybe we could mount it on the side of the pantry. Yeah, maybe right there, but no, I feel like that would not be a great idea either. And I just tell myself that I need to move on because there's other things to do. All right, the marker and that we're using, we usually keep out, and then the rest of the markers go on top just behind that so that they don't roll off the side. That's just trash now. And then we have the recipe books and stuff to take. Oops, sorry. I guess I do thought I'd do the recipe books next, but I guess I do the Instant Pot next. I don't know why I'm dusting this with the duster. It's like we regularly clean this, and it's like the stuff, if it actually had stuff on top, you wouldn't want to use a duster. You'd want to use something wet, just like when I cleaned the top of the fridge. I don't love that this is going back on top of the fridge, but we just have zero cabinet space for it, and we don't have enough counter space to actually leave it out on the counter. But it's not the lightest thing on earth, and I don't like having to get it down and put it back up over my head so often. But this is the space that we have for now, so that's what we're doing. And we don't have a great solution for these cookbooks either. We don't love that they're on top of the pantry, but there isn't really space for like a bookshelf in here unless it'd be like super high up anyway, and then we'd be afraid of like this stuff falling off and hitting the kids in the head because they're quite rambunctious. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So we're still learning. Well, they understand walking feet in the house. It's just hard to execute the walking feet in the house sometimes. But I put those binders up there, and then the rest are mostly Instant Pot cooking books. So I put those on top as well, but facing a different way, so it's just, so they stack easier, because obviously those binders aren't sitting flat. This is like a young chef's cookbook or baking book. Is that what it says there? But when they help us cook or bake, it's just the normal recipes that we use, and we kind of just determine if we have enough time and honestly enough patience to include them in that in a particular point in time. So we don't actually need special recipes or, instructions on how to do that for our kids. So I put that aside to go on the donation shelf that we have in the storage closet. And that's me not loving that that's where the recipe box has to go, but there's not enough flat surface on this side left. And I suppose I could set the binders up, but then I know those things are just going to fall over. The kids are really rough when they open that pantry door, and I don't trust those to be standing up. So you can see we have a mostly empty table now. The only other thing that you probably forgot we took down was this front panel to the fridge, and this is actually like the kick plate and like vent panel to the front of the fridge. This has been up there for forever. It really irritates me when I'm like getting the Instant Pot down and that sort of thing. So here we're lazy cleaning it again. But it would be nice for it actually to be put on there and put on there correctly so that it didn't come off every time a speck of dust touched it while you were walking near it. But that's why we eventually put it up there, because like any even slight touch, this thing would just make it drop to the floor, and we just got tired of trying to shove it back on there. But obviously, since it kept coming off, we were not putting it on there quite correctly. So I'm going to attempt to do that here. Say that as if it's like an acrobatic feat, but it actually turned out to be a little bit more of an acrobatic feat than I thought. Just being able to reach and figure out how to do it. But I'm going to move this chair out of the way so that y'all can come closer and feel closer to the actual struggle. And I have sped this bit up too, because it took me a little while. On the back of this, there are just 2 clips kind of towards each end, but I'm looking under the fridge here, and there's just like some open ovals. There isn't really a specific place that it clips into where I can tell, and I'm trying and I'm feeling it, and I can get one side to go in, but then it's obviously not attached. It just comes right off. So now we're getting serious, fully lying down on the floor here. And I think I have that side, but I don't in fact have that side. But then I do actually get this side, and then I fix the other side, I think. Did I get it? Yep. Yay. And this is what it looks like. So proud of myself. Amazing job, Sarah. All right, here is kind of what the top of the fridge looks like after. We got our liquid chalk markers for the menu board and grocery list and the Instant Pot up there, and that's it. Although I realize we need one more thing up here. Boom, there it is. We need a paper towel to erase the grocery list after we buy the items on the list. So now this is complete. And then we are going to go over and I will show you the top of the pantry. Here that is. We just have the paper towel rolls and the recipe stuff. So that's great. Hopefully this won't be a landing area for artwork and all that sort of thing again to pile up, but we'll see how it goes. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching all the way towards the end. The only thing we have left are the before and after pictures, so you can have that in your mind of the satisfying transition that we just made on these spaces. If you did declutter a space, pop down in the comments below. Let me know how it went. Let me know how it's looking. And, like, subscribe. I've got more decluttering content coming up, more homemaking content, more cleaning content. And I will see you the next time. Thanks. Bye.